What's up, guys? Back for another camo test video today. It's been a while since I did one. Got something new to show off, and as you can see, I got a special guest with me to help out with it. My brother from another mother. We're gonna try out this. So in case you were wondering, this is a pattern that I sort of helped develop with my buddy Sean over at 0241 Tactical. It was his idea, but we bounced it around a little bit and I gave him a little bit of input. And this is what he come up with. So some of you have probably seen, you might all be familiar with, he recreated the quote-unquote Red Dawn pattern from the original Red Dawn movie. That was the snow pattern that the Russian paratroopers were using. And he's been selling that, and it's been a really good good seller for him. But what we talked about doing was this, and he took that same Red Dawn pattern, scaled it up into a more macro scale, and then we threw in a bunch of woodland patterns, but went heavier on the browns and tans than the dark brown and black, and kind of blurred it a little bit, as you can see. And this is the result. So, in case you don't know this guy, I told you I had a friend, but in case y'all don't know, this is my good friend Brent0331. Make sure you go check out his channel, link in the description. He and I started doing camo test videos way back in the day, literally like within a week of each other.
Over a decade ago.
Yeah, over 10 years ago. And like I said, it's funny because like I put my first one up, and then it was literally the same week he put his very first one up. And it's been, heck, right around that time that we actually started talking when all that happened. So he's down visiting and hanging out with me for a while, and we've been chatting and having a good time. He's going to help me test this out. So the tops that we're wearing, these are the top, aka tactical operator pullover from 0241 Tactical, and then these are just some AK chest rigs in the same pattern from my business, UW Gear. So we're gonna be running this with the good AKs today, kind of in homage to the Red Dawn movie. And this pattern doesn't have a name. Sean's just been calling it the Nonameh pattern, but Brent and I have been talking, and we kind of like calling it the Wolverine pattern for obvious reasons. But we'll see how it does. We're going to be out here in the woods today, try to get y'all some decent shots of it, test it out. Try to get some distance, some up close stuff, you know, a little bit of everything. So anything you want to add in and chime in on?
No, it's just I remember several months back you telling me about this pattern, how you guys were going to take the Red Dawn pattern and you know, alter it a little bit, come up with something new. It's finally awesome to see it in person, and just looking at it, you know, right now, again, we haven't tested this yet, but looking at it right now, the color scheme and how the camouflage pattern, I think it's gonna be pretty good.
I do too. I'm digging the way it's looking just in the backdrop, much less once we get out in the bush a little bit. So we're going to do our usual thing, just like Brent always does, and like I always do. We might do something a little different, because I've got a little idea. Because there are some folks that, what's the best way? Some folks think they're really good at spotting Brent and I when we're doing our videos like this, but what people fail to realize is you're looking at a little screen, and you know for a fact that we are somewhere in that screen. So you have a very narrow area, and a lot of people will just like, I think he's right there, and then they end up being right. Then they, in the comment section, oh yeah, I spotted you right there, when they really just got super lucky. But we may try to do a little something to really test y'all's ability to be honest in the comment section about whether you really spotted it or not. So I've got my number one cameraman with me today, so he can actually move the camera around and do a little bit. So Brent and I don't have to run that and do double duty. So we're going to start getting some stuff set up and get started. Sit tight, and we'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, so the part what we're about to do now is the part I want to do a little test for y'all, and Brent and I have talked about this. The world is a 360 degree environment, but what a lot of people forget is not just 360 degrees, it's 360 degrees on multiple axes, horizontally, vertically, etc. So, like I mentioned in the opening part, it's easy to try to guess where something is at when you know it's in a fixed screen. So what we're going to do now is, we're going to do it a little bit more real worldish, or as much as you can do with a camera and a tripod. We're going to go get set up. We're going to have a 360 degree or 180, something like that, degree arc. And we're not going to stand up and show you where we're at. I want you to try to guess where we're at. We will then reveal where we're at, maybe at either the very end of the video or maybe in a separate video. I don't know, we'll figure that out. One way or the other, we'll see, but we ain't going to show you right away. You're going to have to look. So look while you're scanning, just like if you were standing here and you were looking for somebody, because you don't know where the threat may be at. And if you need to, you'll have the advantage of just pausing it and looking really close if you think you see something. Now in real life, if you were doing your scan and you thought you saw something, you could stop and look at it to try to really focus in, okay, am I looking at someone or what? But understand that if you do that and you are looking at a threat, that's probably about the time you're going to get nailed. So we're trying to make it a little more challenging than what some of you, thought. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's just with John and I's previous camouflage effectiveness videos, like you're looking at a still screen, right? You know the person's in there at that, somewhere in that picture. But in this setting, it's like, yeah, there's guys out there, but where are they? And we're giving you more of it. So
right.
A little bit more challenging, because I know John could probably speak the same, because we talk about it all the time. There's always those dudes that are like, oh, I saw you right away.
I saw you every shot I saw you. You're pretty good, but you need to get a little better.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. So
right on, Sparky. That's
up the challenge a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Yep. We'll get, like I said, one way or the other, it'll either be at the very tail end of this or maybe a separate little clip that we'll do. That way you can't come back and change your comment on this one after you've commented. And this will be one of the first ones I've ever said on my channel is comment on the video. Normally I don't care if you comment, but this one, put a timestamp
and
describe where you think you saw us at. Now, there are probably some of you that might be good enough to find us. That very well may be. But I think if some of you are being honest, it might be a little harder than usual. So anyway, at least have fun with it, guys. I hope you enjoy it. We'll, again, put it up for you to see where we're at after the fact. right, guys, so that's going to kind of wrap it up for this one. Tried to keep it short and sweet for you, but give you some good stuff at the same time. Let me know what you think of the pattern. I don't know about Brent, but I mean, no pattern's going to be perfect everywhere, but I got to say, out here in a lot of our area, this is pretty doggone good stuff. We obviously haven't watched the video yet ourselves, so we'll see when we watch it. But I know just from he and I, when we're getting set up and looking at each other, it's doing really good both in the sunlight and in the shadows. It's surprisingly, and not completely surprisingly, because I know how a little bit of this works, but it's darkening in the shadows like it needs to without becoming a black blob, but yet it'll brighten up in the sunlight as well and kind of pick up the tones around it. So again, not 100% solution, but we can never get 100% solution. We just try to shoot for that 80 or 90% solution. So what do you think?
Just, you know, my thoughts looking at it, obviously you said earlier that it uses the same color scheme as like woodland camouflage, and just looking at it, it kind of looks like, and you guys, you know, tell me if you think the same, it looks like a faded woodland almost, like a pre-faded woodland.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, a lot of guys always post like, hey, faded woodland is so much better, right? And this is kind of starting off like that. So I do want to say what John just said is absolutely accurate, right? Like looking at him going into the tree line and him looking at me going in the tree line, we're like, yeah, that shit looks pretty damn good, right? So if it doesn't look good on camera, there's a disparity there because it looks good in person. So, you know. Yeah,
understand that, guys. I mean, Brent and I, neither one have got freaking, you know, $3,000 camera setups. And these cameras do a lot on their own as far as changing the lighting and hues and color and stuff. So both of us even, you know, said the cameras aren't 100% true to your naked eye. So it doesn't ever make it better than what it is in real life. If anything, it'll make it slightly worse. So understand, whatever you're seeing, it's probably always going to be better to the naked eye in real life.
Yeah, I would just kind of take, I've never looked at like the camo effectiveness videos that I've done like as, hey, this is 100% conclusive evidence that this pattern is good or bad. It's just another metric, right? Because even if it looks good in my environment, it might not look good where John's AO here, right? It'll be very similar, and it might perform very similar, or it might not, right? But it's you know, it's just a metric to measure some of these.
Everybody's area is different, and you know, Brent said the same thing as I have in other videos. Use these as kind of a gauge and a guide, not a definitive be-all, end-all. Get what's going to work for you, because what's the magic word that I use all the time, guys? Context. Get the context for you and your situation, your area, your AO. It doesn't matter what Brent and I specifically like in our area if your area is completely different than us, right? I mean, somebody in the freaking northern Midwest probably going to need something a little bit different than what, you know, most of us has. Brent's got some pretty good woods in his area. Mine are even thicker than his. You know, so there's some crossover, but then there's also differences as well. So anyway, I think that's all I've got on it.
Yeah, just a closing thought that if you did think this was effective, like how did it look with, you know, the straight coyote trousers? Because if you did think that was effective, then hey, that's something to keep, you know, food for thought there, right? Yep. It's like, hey, you can get some very good camouflage effectiveness with just a smock. Yep.
And remember, like these solid color pants, they're gonna dirty up. Okay. Even the solid OD pants or these solid khaki or tan pants, when you get out here and actually do this stuff for real, they're gonna dirty up to the colors of your environment. The dirt's gonna stain them. The oils and stuff out of the grass and the trees and the bushes it gets on them is gonna stain them. They will self-camouflage for the environment after a little bit of use. So don't look at a brand new pair and think, oh, that's gonna suck in my area. Get them dirty and then see what they do. So anyways, we're gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. As always, take care, stay safe, and I will catch you in another one.